This is where I start to lose my mind. Look at this. Look at that. Look at that. That is a sick skin. That is like a Diablo Reinhardt skin. I want this skin. And I have like... It's almost like I exist in an alternate reality every time I see new Overwatch content. I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait to earn this skin. But then it turns out you don't earn skins. Some you do, but they're generally old legendaries. You have to put your hand into your wallet and pay 20 quid or $20 or 18 quid or whatever it is to buy this skin. And I'm like, oh, it takes all the joy out of it. But if I just pretend I'm in this alternate reality for a while, of which I just earn these skins, you know, a reality that existed before Overwatch 2 came out, then suddenly these skins get incredibly better to me. You just kind of got to forget that you have to pay 20 quid or $20 for them. It kills me every time. It kills me. The Mythic Skin is delivered in a brand new way, a way which I completely agree with. In fact, when I did my Season 1 review, I actually said, why don't they break up the Mythic Skin and let you earn it at earlier levels? And that's exactly what they're doing now. We'll also take a look at that. And we're going to talk about Overwatch League, because you guys know that I was intimately involved in Overwatch League for the first 3 seasons of the league, with London Spitfire and with Cloud9. And it was very interesting. And there is a massive development for the league, which could be a positive, but also could be a negative. But we'll break it down. Okay, so to begin with, I want to show you guys this, right? This is the Mythic Skin. Cheers, Squire! Cheers, Squire! It's Tracer as an elf.
Everyone well rested?
And I don't think it looks very mythic. I'm just going to say that. I don't think it does. It's a good legendary. But is this really a mythic? I don't know.
We're an unlikely crew of adventurers, aren't we?
Okay, so a lot happened in that trailer that you might have missed, but we'll go through it very slow, because I missed this to begin with, because I was like, are there actually colour variants of this skin? And there are. So, yeah, okay. This is what happens, right? Remember this, a red hood. There is like a red version of the skin. Yeah, so remember with Mythic Skins, you can change the colours. You can change your helmet most of the time, or whatever's on your head or your face. And you can change like your chest piece and some other bit. Right, your weapon usually changes as well with those. So we've got this here, a bit of an emote. Looks pretty cool. Actually, is that a souvenir or an emote? I think that's an emote. I think it's an emote. But the main thing here is this skin unlocks at tier 45. So you get this base version of the skin at tier 45, which doesn't include all of the customization options, which I think is actually pretty good, because it's going to get more people into the Mythic Skin earlier. Because I bet you they've probably got data showing people they just don't get the Mythic Skin, and they get a bit maybe pissed off. It is interesting, though, to think what they'll do with the old Mythic Skins. Will they come back in the store for a price? Okay, so at tier 65, look, you get a hood. So it looks like you get the customization of the chest and the head. Now, if we go back to the start here, you'll see this in red. So it looks like you do get a red version of this, and there's probably another color as well. They generally do 3 colors. So, okay, tier 65, good. Then things get to tier 80. This is a highlight intro, by the way. Which they're showing off, which, yeah, it looks pretty cool. It actually made me laugh when I was going through this, because I'm a video editor, but a really bad video editor, right? And look at this. It's like they've missed the frame alignment when she changes. Look into the skin, look. Actually, no, maybe I'm being a bit harsh. That's kind of like, okay, I'm being harsh there. No, they've done a good job. But yeah, level 80, you get this, and it is the fully upgraded version of the skin, where you've got like the full armor. Now, I think it's debatable whether this looks better than even just this, the base skin. I don't know. But like, it looks like all they've done for a Mythic Skin now is just give you 3 legendary skins and slap them together. It feels like that's all they've done. Maybe that's all they need to do. I don't know. Maybe Mythic Skins are not turning out to be the draw that everyone thought they would be. I don't know. And again, you can see the red version of it there. But I think this is okay, right? I think this is pretty good. And I do like this change. I think this is much better that we are getting the Mythic Skin broken up in the way that we earn it. That's a good thing, Blizzard. Good job. Now let's go and take a look at the other skins. So this is where I start to lose my mind. Look at this. Look at that. Look at that. That is a sick skin. That is like a Diablo Reinhardt skin. I want this skin. And I have like... It's almost like I exist in an alternate reality every time I see new Overwatch content. I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait to earn this skin. But then it turns out you don't earn skins. Some you do, but they're generally old legendaries. You have to put your hand into your wallet and pay 20 quid or $20 or 18 quid or whatever it is to buy this skin. And I'm like, oh, it takes all the joy out of it. But if I just pretend I'm in this alternate reality for a while, of which I just earn these skins, a reality that existed before Overwatch 2 came out, then suddenly these skins get incredibly better to me. But let's roll this trailer because this is pretty cool. So,
Rust, my greatest weakness.
Rust, my greatest weakness. Genji's also got a bit of a campfire.
You got your rations, rope. How about healing potions, scrolls?
I have a bad feeling about
I like that. It's like a
The sword
fantasy
is an
griffin.
elegant weapon for more
I'll be honest, this Genji skin, I don't look that good to me. Genji's got Cyber Demon, and I think that's just infinitely better than most of his other skins. But the voice line was pretty funny. Rust is his greatest enemy.
civilized age.
Or no, it's not enemy. Is it weakness? Did he say?
My greatest weakness.
His greatest weakness.
Rope. How about healing potions, scrolls?
I have a bad feeling about this.
The sword is an elegant weapon for more civilized age.
Just needed a rest.
His weapon looks pretty decent. He's got kind of got a broadsword. So this is when the Reinhardt skin comes in.
6 demonic hearts burn visit my chest.
Honestly,
Face me if you dare.
that is sick. Anyway, skins are good. Buying them is bad. And I'll always be of that mindset because I just... Whatever. Anyway, let's move on because we're going to talk about... we're going to talk about Overwatch League because there is some... This is massive. Like, really massive. But I think some people may have got a bit... how can I say this diplomatically? A bit carried away with this being an overly positive thing for the league. So, I guess the little preamble here is Overwatch League has got financial problems. It's not just Overwatch League that has got financial problems. I know everyone likes to hate on Overwatch League, but it's also pretty much every other major esports league and every other major esports organization that generally run the teams in the esports leagues. They're all suffering with money. Now, again, a very simplistic breakdown of this would be there was a period of time from like 2016 to, let's say, 2021, maybe even early 2022. But let's just go 2021, where a lot of venture capital investors were literally pumping tens of millions of, well, hundreds of millions of dollars combined into all these esports teams. So I've no doubt that a lot of people at these esports teams have made bank, especially the owners. But what they were doing was very short-sighted. They didn't really have any way of generating profit. Now, esports is very complex. It's not just the teams, they should do a thing and generate profit. The teams are kind of restricted by what the publishers say. So the big attraction with Overwatch League, and a reason why a lot of investors went into this, and esports teams, was because they were selling tickets to localized games, which meant there was a ticket price that teams could earn. It also meant you could host an event, sell merchandise, and all of that associated stuff. This has never really been done at that scale in esports before. Obviously, there's been big finals and big stadiums, things like the Dota finals. Even, if you just take the Overwatch League finals in its thing, it fills stadium. There's multiple esports that have all done this. Look at Worlds every year with League of Legends. But none of this happened with Overwatch League. Only a few teams actually ran what was called a homestand because of COVID. Now, COVID was obviously a good excuse, right? It prevented people traveling, so you just couldn't actually fill these arenas. And obviously, COVID was a worry for a lot of people. I know myself, I was at danger of COVID through being immunocompromised. But all these things piled up. And it basically means that Overwatch League is a product that doesn't do what it originally set out to do. This means the teams are losing a lot of money because they're not generating any money through any of these homestands or these events that they could hold. Teams still owe a lot of money to Activision Blizzard. Now, I'm going to go through this article because it breaks down what happens after that fact, right? So sort of build a picture. You've got a lot of team owners and teams that are moaning at Blizzard because they're not making enough money that they said they would make money. Their teams are running at a loss. They're running out of investment money because the investors have now shied away from esports and are going into other things like maybe AI or some other crap. I don't know. And the esports teams are left in a mess, right? And it's a mess that the publishers have also put them in. So it's very convoluted. Anyway, check this out. Canadian esports and gaming holding company Overactive Media, these own the Toronto Defiant, announced it has reached an agreement with the Overwatch League, Activision Blizzard's franchise league for Overwatch. Overactive said its OWL franchise, Toronto Defiant, had signed a sponsorship deal with the league and that Overwatch League had agreed to eliminate outstanding fees it paid to enter the league. The company valued the deal at 10.8 million Canadian dollars or 6.5 million pounds. Now, why this is significant is Overwatch League, you essentially were putting 20 million in if you wanted to join in the first year. You didn't pay that up front, but you paid it on like a payment schedule. This was suspended during COVID because obviously homestands couldn't happen. And now what's happened following this lawsuit, effectively, that Overactive Media pushed against Blizzard, they've gone, no, you don't actually need to pay any of these outstanding fees. So they've still paid some of the fees, but they don't have to pay any of the outstanding ones. So there's no pressure on them to, this is where things get a bit muddled, continue to invest in this because the losses stop now if you stop paying your players and your teams. You get what I'm saying, guys? The loss is over. Now, there may be things in the contract that stop them from just going no, we're walking away and things like that. That might be a requirement of them eliminating the £6.5 million additional fee left. Of course, this doesn't even take into account teams that came on board in Season 2 because they paid a lot more. Some of them reportedly up to $40 million. So, yeah, a lot of money on the table. Anyway, they go on to say, Overactive Media owns Toronto Defiant, a franchise team in the Overwatch League, as well as Call of Duty League franchise Toronto Ultra and European esports organisation Mad Lions. The company has operations in Toronto, Madrid and Berlin and is publicly traded on the Canadian TSXV exchange. The new partnership with the Overwatch League is based on 3 separate smaller agreements and separate deals. The first sees Overactive Media get an early payment of league revenue share, a sponsorship agreement with the Toronto Ultra, and the elimination of any entry fees. All of those agreements had a collective value of 10.8 million Canadian dollars, according to Overactive Media, which is still a far cry from the 20 million or 16.1 million pounds entry fees that the members of Overwatch League pay for slots. The deal comes after the Jacob Wolf report reported in January that Overwatch League teams had hired a law firm to start collectively bargaining proceedings against the league due to a high operating costs and missed revenue promises. This process was led by Overactive Media, Jacob Wolf reported at the time. Activision Blizzard, the developer of Overwatch, was owed a considerable sum from the teams themselves. Jacob Wolf reported in May 2022 that teams owed roughly $6 to $7.5 million each for a total of $120 to $150 million. It's not clear whether teams who also joined the same bargaining process with Overactive Media have or will receive a similar deal to ease financial stresses. And I believe they are, guys. I believe the whole league is receiving this. Overactive's media deal sees some of the high costs of operating an Overwatch League team reclaimed. However, running costs for organizations is still estimated in the millions per year. In a release, Overactive Media also said the deal may see changes to how Overwatch League works commercially in the future. The agreement also provides for the parties to explore further changes to the Overwatch League business plan moving forward. That's a critical thing as well, guys, to take away from this. The press release read, it is unclear what changes this may include or what effect those changes will have to the future of the league and other teams. It is still unclear what the partnership between Toronto Defiant and the Overwatch League will consist of, and neither party mentioned any details. It is worth noting that Overactive Media is a publicly traded company and thus obliged to disclose major financial deals. So we will get information on this at some point, but I think the takeaway here, guys, is Overwatch League, I think it will have another year now because of this, because you've got to think, like, the cost to run a team is very expensive. And we've already seen things happen with certain teams. I won't name teams specifically, but there are teams out there that don't have they have a 5-player roster and that's it. They don't have any substitution players. In fact, what they'll do is put a coach in as that, because they're already paying the coach. So they think, well, we'll just put the coach in as a player. Well, I will name a team. We've seen this happen with Paris. And Paris is, I think it was Paris's GM actually, had to play. Now, she was an incredible player. She's like a super high top 500 support, I think she was. But that's not an Overwatch League pro, yeah? But the fact that they're doing things like that, teams, means that they're trying to cut costs and cut corners any way they can. And that's not great for the league. This now reduces the financial burden and says, look, you don't have to pay these millions back. So in essence, I guess maybe these teams could go, okay, we can operate now for another 4 or 5 years in Overwatch League, depending on what their operational fees are. I'm sort of estimating about $1 million a year because fees can get out of control. But again, like, who knows? The other way of looking at all of this is these organizations see this as writing off of a debt that they needed to pay back, which maybe they were hoping to pay back by staying in the league. So we might see going into next year, teams just suddenly not re-upping their contract or walking away from Overwatch League because they don't have any financial obligation to be there and they're not really making anything off it. Now, in terms of how I think they could turn this around, Overwatch League, I mean, again, it's sort of a problem with format. It's a problem with a lot of things, but I think the biggest issue was with how teams made money in the game. That being that they kind of didn't. There is merchandise for Overwatch League, but I don't think that sells very well. In fact, I know it doesn't sell very well. Inside the game, you've got the Overwatch League stuff, so you can buy the skins. A share, an equal share goes to all teams from that, I believe. But the question is, like, beyond that share, beyond that merchandise, how do these teams make money? Like, Blizzard need a better way of doing it, I think. And there needs to be better things in the game for people to actually want to buy, I think. Beyond going down the route of, like, trying to go completely pay-per-view and you have to pay to watch the Overwatch League or something. You know, there's a lot of issues with the monetization. But I guess the good news is at least Blizzard are giving something back here. They're not just saying, no, you need to pay us all these fees, even though we've completely failed on every level. But what I will say is this. There might be other ulterior motives to this. It might be something to do with the Microsoft Activision. It might be something to do with writing off outstanding funds. Because if you've got, like, on your balance sheet, there's 150 million outstanding and it's never going to get paid, you know, or if it is going to get paid, it's going to be so low. When you're dealing with billions and billions, it probably makes more sense to get rid of that and write it off and go, yeah, no, we've got rid of that. We've done this. Our league's doing this and that. So all of these things are going on behind the scenes. But there's one thing I can tell you guys is Activision Blizzard will not do anything unless it makes it money somehow. That's the way the company operates. So, yeah. All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that video. And, yeah, I've been Stylosa. And we're getting close to Season 5 now. So I would say keep your eyes peeled for Overwatch updates, because I'm sure there's going to be some, especially the balance stuff, because we had a little bit of stuff come out on that recently. And, yeah, I guess we just go from there and see what Season 5 turns out to be. All right, guys. I'll catch you lovely lot on the next one. See you soon.